Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and unicorns. Welcome to another Pixel Prophecy stream. And Frank, congratulations on winning the quiz with 81% of the questions right. You were tripped up a little bit about the wildcard man games, which is only fair. So hopefully next time I will have some more new questions. And Lady Miss Leaf, a very close second with 100% questions answered correctly, as with Cursibu. It's not that many questions, but still 100% correct. You just waited until the question came along that you meant to answer correctly. Hello everyone, how is the sound? Do we have audio? Yes, we have audio levels. And there should even be music playing in the background. We have lights, we have camera, we have audio. This is unusual, don't get used to it. We probably have some technical issues along the way, but until then I'm glad that all of you are here and also that I am here. Sorry, as we say in German, I have a frog in my throat for some reason. I don't know. I had a small coughing fit a minute ago. So hopefully this is not going to haunt me. Lady Miss Leaf says, I just showed up. That explains it. I thought you were just waiting for the perfect question that you could answer right away. Right. So first, how was your week? My week was rather good, because I could get some more work on the post-mortem under my belt. So I'm very, very happy and confident that, there are things that are progressing with the post-mortem. And today I clocked in about 3 hours of editing and motion graphics work on it. So good things to come at some point. And Console is also here. Hello and good evening. Good evening, Console. Wonderful of you to drop by. Kirsty says, frog in throat is cross-language to English at least. Okay, so then this works. It's funny with some of those sayings. I tend to literally translate what I know in German, and then people, native speakers, look at me like, what are you talking about? And sometimes it works. So the frog in your throat, that is something. But when you say it's time, you really should get going. In German we say it's highest railway. For some reason, and I've heard this only once in English, and of someone who was not joking by literally translating it. So yeah, every language has their own weird sayings, and it's always fun when you have this little friction point with other cultures where you don't know what the adage, or is it adage is of someone else. Frank says, I've been homesick this week. Oh no, and I'm still not feeling great. Oh dear, I hope it's not something serious. Either way, speedy recovery, Frank. And if you feel like just lurking or dropping out, it's all good. But it's so nice of you to be here, and I hope we can entertain you a little bit, and that you feel better. We don't want to stress you out or anything that you feel worse. So yeah, all the best. Hope you have a speedy recovery then. And Lady Miss Leaf says, living with my husband who only speaks English and working with mostly English-speaking people, I sometimes talk to my mom and an expression comes to mind that doesn't translate well. And Frank says, we'll see. Yeah, fingers crossed. Lady Miss Leaf, I think you're French-Canadian, right? So this otherwise it wouldn't make sense. So I hope you don't mind me dropping this bit of context. I should have some water. I already had some of my crystal tea, as I like to call plain tap water. And Frank says, expressions aren't meant to translate, and adage, or I always want to say it French, adage is like add and fridge. So adage, so that's the word. Thank you as always for helping me out pronunciation. I always want to say pronunciation wise. Pronunciation. See, the more you start to think about how things should sound or how you said them, and then you listen to someone else who says them differently, and so you go, okay, have I been saying this for 30 years incorrectly? And the answer is, at least in my case, yes I have, and I should be embarrassed about it, but so far it's hopefully I retain the the newly learned pronunciation of certain words. So if I don't, again, thank you, Kirsty. I really do appreciate it, especially for these helpful ways of where you have simple words where you say this part of that word and that part of the other word. This really helps me. So thank you for helping with that. Lady Miss Cliff says, I meant that I totally understand expressions not translating sometimes. Okay, good. So I'm not the only one. That is also the thing when you're mostly hunkered down in front of your computer and you think there's not that much social exchange going on and you feel like, am I the only one? Probably. So it's good to know that no matter what it is, you're probably not the only one. And Frank says, better one bird in the fridge than 10 in the air. That's nice. I mean, one other thing that I tried out was trying to combine different sayings and seeing how if you can get a new phrase out of it, a new expression, just by remixing others. It's a little bit like when you take, okay, we have the mechanics of casino games and we have roguelike mechanics. Let's bring the balatro. I'm talking about balatro, everyone. And you can do this also with language. I think you can. At least it's fun to think about, and when you've had too much coffee and your phone's dead and you want to do something with your brain. Lady Miss Cliff says, you don't have to be embarrassed at mispronouncing English words. My English vowels have like 3 different pronunciations that vary or vary. See, that's another word, from word to word. Okay, good. And Lady Miss Cliff says, only at Thanksgiving or Franksgiving, finally, I can give myself the bottom. It's been a while. Classic saying, says Kirsty Boo. And learning is good. I'm always, like I said, I'm always learning something new in the stream. And I mean, I'm here for 7 minutes after the countdown and already learned something. Adage. Yeah, I've heard this before. So it's not adage, it's adage. Got it. Frank says, a few weeks ago I found an expression that's very obvious to me, but apparently doesn't translate to my northern neighbors. Yeah, that is the other thing with languages. Where is the cutoff point of certain expressions or even the meaning of certain dialect words, especially here in Austria? Sometimes it feels like when you're from Eastern Austria and you talk to someone from rural Western Austria, these people hardly understand each other. Oh dear, I think I just switched on the tracking mode of the camera because I put my hand up. So yeah, let me see if I can get the camera aligned. Why did I enable this in the first place? Oh, I remember when I wanted to show you the wonderful chair that's there at the very edge of no, I do not want to update my link controller at the edge of the image. I should finish my sentences before starting new ones. You know me, this is really something that I've been working hard to do. The other thing is my posture. Kirsty, thank you for reminding me to do this posture check channel action. I completely forgot about it because I've written it down, and when I've written something down, it means I don't have to retain it. Probably I should look at things that I've written down. Sein and Harkatsturen, if I'm saying this correctly, is sending one's cat, which in Flanders means not showing up. Oh, but apparently not in the Netherlands. Oh, this is nice. When you say, yeah, I will send my cat. Will you come by to the tenant meeting tomorrow? Yeah, I'll be sure to send my cat. I love this. This is fun. Lady Miss Leaf says, speaking of, I showed my parents your reaction to my little thing/pencil holder, and you made my parents happy with your reaction. Thank you for showing. Again, it's really, I also showed it to Connie because it's really some artisanal masterwork with the drill and everything, because you wouldn't think of it that a lowly drill that is meant to just effect holes in things is meant to work this carefully and artistically. So again, thank you for showing me that. That's really a skill, and there should be more of it. because I'm already ranting, but nowadays when you can't trust something that you see online, whether it was made with AI or something, it's really nice to see real handiwork from real people being creative and being crafty at what they do. So thank you for sharing. Right, one thing is that I want to get my view back. There we go. So this, at least I have the preset back now. Enable auto tracking. No, this has been switched off. Why is it switched on? Anyway, never mind. Kirsty says, redeem idea. It notifies you to remember to check your list of redeem ideas. You know what? That's not bad. I will write this down on my invisible typewriter. No, it's not an invisible typewriter. So redeems. Now I have an exclamation point at the end, which makes it very seriously for me. If it's in front, it's a channel command. So you really have to be careful where to put it. Frank says, usually it's not used about oneself. Okay, you said to say someone else didn't show up. So they sent the cat. Okay, usually without warning. So someone doesn't show up and you say, oh, they sent the cat, perhaps. This is really a nice saying, sending the cat. I would start trying to say this also in German, because like I said, I like to be wild on my co-workers whenever I get to see them. So this is just one notch in the board for me when I say, yeah, I will send my cat. To disable tracking, delete cookies. Indeed. Oh yeah, talking about things and tracking and everything related to that. I finally took the plunge last week and changed my main browser to the almighty, where is it? This one here, to the Waterfox. And as you can see here by this lovely little icon. And the good thing, well, here it is again just a little bit bigger. The cool thing about Waterfox is, I mean with Firefox before that, I used Firefox Sync a lot to sync all my bookmarks and form data and browsing history and so on, which is cool because then I have it on my phone and also on my other machines and don't have to do much but be online. So, and the good thing about Waterfox is you can still use Mozilla Sync to sync everything. So the first thing that I did is I opened Waterfox, started syncing everything, and all my extensions, everything was still there. I mean, of course, I was lacking the cookies now, so I had to log in with all my services. But apart from that, it has been very, very frictionless. Like I said, the biggest issue was having to log in again. So just right now for Twitch, for example. But other than that, I'm very happy with it because you don't get the AI, everything being shoved in your face. You don't have to, after every update of Firefox, you do not have to go into your config about or about config file and see has it switched on some AI features again. And yeah, the upside is it feels pretty responsive. And some websites feel super snappy now. I'm not sure if this is just a placebo effect, but so far after 1 week I can fully recommend Firefox. Waterfox, not Firefox, the other thing, the one that extinguishes fire. So there we go. Yeah, the other browser that I looked into is Vivaldi, and I've downloaded it, and I wanted to have it again in my Dropbox, so then I could run it from all my machines from the Dropbox and have everything in sync. At least this was the idea. But since it's Chromium based and encryption functions differently, so you can only open it on the machine that encrypted the websites that you visited. So when I tried after syncing through Dropbox to open it on another machine from my portable folder, it said, yeah, it looks everything is corrupt. You can start, but you have to start from empty slate because all your user settings are encrypted and Vivaldi can't read it. So this is the only downside for me right now. As far as I understand it, Vivaldi sees itself also as some kind of service provider in a sense that it's more than just a browser. It's also, I think, calendar and tasks and also probably some syncing. So I haven't looked into that because, again, I wanted to have everything just in one place. I'm still one who enjoys having files of everything locally on my machine, where I can look in the eye of the drive and say, I know it's on there, or at least this is what I've been telling me. And so this is why I haven't looked into Vivaldi, and because I'm not too fond of the Chromium browser, because I feel maybe I'm just a little bit nostalgic, because inside Firefox and WaterFox, some code lines are still from the first Mosaic browser there, and then later Netscape Navigator. And again, to me, this is a little bit nostalgic, and also it feels like everything is either WebKit or Chromium, and this is why I like the Mozilla browser. I don't know. And then, of course, there's whatever Microsoft does. Anyway, so again, I have missed the chat, and thank you for feeding the automated unicorn and reminding me to have something to drink. But yeah, so far, after 1 week, WaterFox good. So the other thing that I've looked into, and my patrons already have heard of it, and other people on the Pixel Prophecy Discord. Yes, Discord is very adamant about doing this identity checking or age verification. Again, it feels kind of shady. I mean, on one hand is, why is this suddenly necessary? What for is it necessary? And who is having the data and storing all our personal information? Especially, yeah, as we've discussed, the closer you look into things, who is processing your information and what is happening with those providers, it just keeps getting worse. So it's like a fractal of bad things. The closer you look, the more you see of things not looking right. So with Discord, we will see how it goes. But again, Discord is one of these things that are just walled gardens that belong to this one company, and everyone is on there. And one thing that I really don't like about Discord is I'm part of some modding and retro gaming communities. I mean, when I say I'm part of it, it means I occasionally visit. And usually those communities had forums, like spanning back decades sometimes. And especially when you want to, I don't know, do some Super Nintendo sample extraction hack, and you need a file or an application to do this for you. Usually you would find it on these old forums. And I mean, 90% of the time it was offline, but in 90% you could find it again through the Wayback Machine, because the pages were crawled and some kind soul or even bot somehow saved the one exe file from 2003 that does exactly what you want it does, what you want it to do. Nowadays it feels like these communities, especially the F-Zero hacking community, has more or less transitioned completely to Discord, and all their tools are also on Discord. So it wasn't easy to find this one tool to extract track data, for example, from F-Zero, because all the pages that I found where I was looking for this program said, yeah, it's on our Discord, this is the join link. And then of course you have to join and then look through hundreds of threads to where this tool is and what the latest version is. And again, it's completely opaque. And of course, when should Discord decide to shut down or be shut down, someone else decides Discord should shut down, or whether they just think, you know what, this entire thing is run by someone who hasn't verified their identity, well, we'll delete their server and everything is gone and you can't find it anymore other than what files they have downloaded. This is really the biggest gripe that I have with Discord. So what is the alternative? I've already teased it in my Patreon update, and Frank, I think you already know it as well, and that is Matrix. Let me show you quickly what Matrix is, or what they say it is. Matrix is an open network for secure, decentralized communication. As I said in the update, it's a bit like what Mastodon is for Twitter. This is the same thing for Discord, in a sense. You can run your own server. This is why I said it's kind of confusing, but I already started a space. Let me see if I can if I can find it, try Matrix. Oh, I think, yeah, one thing that you need here for Matrix is, I mean, with Discord, you have the Discord app, which is also your Discord client. So everything is just from the same vendor. And here with Matrix, you first need to install a client. And there are different clients that you can choose from. I chose the Element one, but there are others, as you can see, for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, or here Cine is even on the web. And there is the Element Web/desktop, which is also pretty cool. So I think I have it already in my browser somewhere. Element is open in another window. Oh, is it? Let me find that window. But there we go. So there I already started here with a Pixel Prophecy space, and inside this space you can create rooms, which are like channels. The cool thing about these rooms is that they are independent of the channels. So for example, you can make a room and that is part of multiple spaces. So independent, not of channels, independent of spaces. So for example, if we have a retro gaming room and other people can subscribe essentially to this room, which I find is pretty cool. And as you can see here from the user interface, when I say I create a new space, I can say, is it public or is it open? And I mean, right now everything lives on the matrix.org servers. But in the long run, or should you want to, you can spin up your own server. And again, this is where I said, oh my God, it's confusing. But it's definitely a possibility. All you need is an Arduino with some hard drive space attached to it for files people share. Do some configuration, the firewall, and you're good to go. If you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing, so this is why I'm having here my first whatever test thing here up on Matrix. The good thing is that it is end-to-end encrypted, which is a bit of a hassle if you want to move from one server to the next, but at least they're open about it, and they say, yeah, especially direct messages, it's a little bit of a hassle because, again, with the entire encryption and so on. But if you do not really care that much about messaging history or something when you do the move, then of course it's not that big of a problem. But again, I'm looking into this, and should things come to a bad end with Discord, I will move or try to transition over from Discord to Element. Also, cool thing is, like Discord, you can use this as an instant messenger, as if we don't already have enough of those. But Frank, I think you also shared on the Pixel Prophecy Discord, let me see if I can find it, a nice overview from Reddit about the different services, messenger services, and how open they are or how well encrypted they are. Let me see if I can find... No, it was not Frank, it was InkDO21. I'm sorry for misattributing. So let me see if I can paste it here. Yes, the instant messaging platforms, and there you can see Element is pretty high up because it says here decentralized, anyone can host a server, and it has encryption, while things like Slack and Skype and Discord are here at the very bottom. So the jurisdiction is the US, the encryption is flaky, if any at all, and of course the server is centralized and proprietary. So again, this is a pretty nice overview of messenger services. So yeah, please do not use Slack. There are more and better things. So what have I missed? Frank says we'll have to see. Yeah, that's the thing. And Kirsty says Matrix seems cool. Yeah, you have a website already though? On Element, on Matrix, I think I have. I mean, I have here at pixelprophecy:/matrix.org. That's my user, and the test space that I have is just called Pixel Prophecy, I think. So if also any of you should have some an Element account, I'm happy to add you to it, and we can do a test run of it. Because right now it's set to private, but of course I can send out invites. So I probably, when it's a little bit clearer what's going to happen with Discord and so on, I will send out another update through Patreon, also to non-patrons who just are following me on Patreon, and line out everything there, and hopefully at this point then have a strategy for transitioning, or yeah, so that we just again, we spread our eggs to different baskets. I think that's another expression. Kirsty says, I mean, you could maybe host on pixelprophecy.com, right? Oh yeah, that is the thing. I'm not sure what is actually needed for this. This is why I wrote it was confusing. So yes, I do have a Austrian internet provider, and also not internet provider, but my web spaces are hosted in Austria, which again is, it was important for me that they are somewhere in the European Union, with the European Union jurisdiction. It feels more safer, I would say, than some flaky government. And the other thing is, so yes, I do have space there, but I have no idea what it means to run this server, because for me, it sounds like I would be a little bit in over my head, because I don't really know much about administrating actual web space, because nowadays it's a nightmare, I can only assume, with bandwidth and load balancing and user accounts and firewall, and making sure that when you, for example, when I run my own element or my own matrix, that the thing is safe and not just where I think it's safe, and it's just being used as a launchpad for a number of Russian and Chinese bots, for example. So since I do not want this to happen, it's for now it's on element.org. But yeah, exactly, if needed, I mean, there should definitely should there be providers out there who say, yeah, we will host this so you can have your own matrix server. We will take care of all the security and data, and you just essentially just pay a fee, a subscription fee for them to manage. But again, that is another third person in the middle there. So yeah, again, I'm not sure. I mean, right now it's matrix.org, and we will have to see. Yeah, be careful if you try, for sure. That's the thing. Because the worst thing that can happen to me is that I feel secure because I've been following, let's say, the tutorial of, okay, how to secure your matrix server, and this was written by some nefarious person, and everyone is following this because people who actually know networking and know internet and server administration, they look at this and go, oh no, that's not how you do it. And I think I'm under the impression that I did everything right and everything is secure. And again, because it's not just me then on this server, but also other people, I feel like I'm responsible, of course, for those people. So again, this is why I'm very hesitant to do this myself, because then, of course, I need to hire someone at some point to just do the administration of this, and then it becomes its own project. Right. So yeah, Element, cool thing. I will have to keep an eye on it. And the other is did the jump off from Firefox through WaterFox. Then SoundCloud, I didn't like it because they were doing something AI training with your music, and also I felt the SoundCloud Premium that I paid yearly for was overpriced. So again, I'm running my own thing now. So yeah, of course, it's not easy when you're so dependent on American services. For example, I have so much running through my Google account, so I'm probably not going to get rid of that. Same thing with Dropbox. I tried looking into Nextcloud, but again, it's I'm so used to the convenience of Dropbox, and with Nextcloud, I don't fully understand it. It's the same thing. Running your personal own Dropbox would be cool. All you need is just some storage and connected to the network somehow. But of course, that means, whatever I'm downloading is then throttled by the internet connection that I have right now where I'm sitting. So again, many things, but it's good nowadays to look for alternatives should you need them. And talking about European alternatives, there was this page, European alternatives apps. I'm not sure what it's called. Oh yes, the other thing is, you've noticed I'm using now Start Page and not Google anymore. For one thing is, with Google, most of the time you get the AI summary, which is not really any good. And I've realized that despite knowing that the AI summary is not very good, I still look at it. I cannot help it because it's smack dab up there and I don't want to. So this is why I went with what was pre-installed with WaterFox, and that is Startpage. I haven't looked into Startpage, what they're doing and how they're doing things, but you can't be worse than Google. And I think WaterFox, they finance themselves through these, being with Startpage and get their commission through all the searches that are done through Startpage. So again, from a user perspective, it could be worse. So this is so far, when I'm looking for something that I don't find on Startpage, well, then I go to Google. But so far, I mean, things have been good because this is exactly what I was looking for. So europeanalternatives.eu, let me paste it here, is a pretty neat collection of alternatives again to big software. For example, if we're looking here for alternatives to, let's say, Google Teams, what are the alternatives? Well, Stackfield, apparently from Germany, or Fleep, I love the name, from Estonia, or Nextcloud, there we have it, Talk. So, and again, I feel like this is a good resource as any, because you never know, and it's good to have alternatives. For example, I think Codeberg, that's German. I've seen it grow in popularity on Mastodon, for example. So yeah, lots of things. So if you want to browse and maybe something that is relatively frictionless for you, why not give it a try? And I never really thought 20 years back that I would use so much open source software, because 20 years ago it felt like, yeah, open source software is super buggy, it's crappy, it's laggy, it doesn't have the features that you need, and it's only good at this one precise thing, and the user interface looks horrible. So better trust, I don't know, Adobe, because you pay them, and so this is why they make sure to produce good software. And nowadays it feels like it's the utter reverse. So if there's, I don't know, some, I rather trust an application that's being developed by some furry in the Philippines rather than Adobe, for example. So it's it's really funny when you think about this. So what else have I looked through or not seen in the chat? So, Kirsty says, I mean, you could host on Pixel Prophecy, right, if needed. Lady Miscliff says, what is Dropbox doing? Kirsty says, no offense taken, distancing yourself from US tech corpus. That's the thing. It's just in general, when as soon as you realize that your ship is taking water in one direction, or as we've had it with the expression that all your basket or your eggs are in the basket of the same country, in this case, all subjected to a certain very flaky government who doesn't follow any rules anymore, you never know what's going to happen. And so the more open things you use, I would feel like, of course, you lose some convenience, but in the long run, again, for myself, it feels a little bit safer to have not everything in Google, despite, of course, being the huge convenience. Lady Miscliff says, fair, and a lot of what I use is US based. Some are non-negotiable. You will not see me boycotting Steam. Yeah, that's the thing. You really have to pick and choose. But this is, again, for me, where I looked at, I tried to get the big picture of all the services that I'm subscribed to and what I've been using and who I'm paying and where my data actually sits. And I realized that, yeah, I see most of the things bunching up somewhere in the US, and are there relatively frictionless ways of getting rid of this? Because as I think many of us have seen, Microsoft is just going apeshit with pushing AI into everything. Same thing now with Mozilla and Firefox. So again, if you don't want this, you really have to look for alternatives. But at the same point, dear God, I'm so exhausted from every corporation pulling this crap. It's not like one saying, yeah, we got to make a stand and we are here for our users or anything. No, at the end of the day, it feels like to everyone, you're the user, you're just not worth it. Is it convenience for the users or protecting your actual customers or profits? Well, of course it's profits. And again, I'm just so exhausted from having to look for alternatives. But again, it's one day after the next, and just see if I can find certain things that are relatively frictionless for me to transition to. Anyway, Some are non-negotiable. Consola says start page isn't built on Bing like DuckDuck. I don't know. That's the thing. Probably should have done my due diligence and looked into what start page actually is, what they're running. Because, like I said, I'm just so exhausted. I cannot research everything or anything. So I just hope that since start page has here a privacy please thing, and that looks kind of good. So yeah, I don't know where they source their things from. But again, it feels like this proliferation or bunching up of just big services. It's like what we've learned. The internet was conceived as this web of things, of connections. And when you take out one node, it doesn't matter because the connections of all the other nodes just balance out the load. And then there is something like a Cloudflare DNS misconfiguration and or AWS being down, and like 80% of the big websites don't function anymore. And again, it's it's shocking when you think about it. Frank says, my homepage is still a local HTML form that has a Google field which sends the query to Google with handcrafted URL parameter that I haven't touched in years, but that seems to disable the AI nonsense. You see, that is very, very cool. That is very crafty to have your own query to Google, and then Google only sees what you wanted to see. It doesn't do, when you enter the first 3 letters, already does the search for you and try to figure you out. Okay, that is pretty cool. Kirsty says, turning off AI on Google search, you can just add, oh yeah, that's trick. Does that trick still work with UDM 14? But again, it feels like everyone is shoving it in your face. And I always think if AI is really that send from the heavens to the earth that will deliver us all, when it's really that good, why is it on by default? Why is it not something that, okay, I really want this as a user, where can I find this, and then have to look for it? And instead it's the other way around. They won't let you deactivate it that easily. So and the other thing is, well, if it's that profitable and is that good for your business, why are they sharing it for free with us? Because of course they want to make the profits and keep the profits. So again, it really looks and feels like a grift. Anyway, Kirsty says, I have my browser search set to automatically do that. Yeah, that's a good thing. Like I said, this is self-defense. And Disease is here. Hello. Lady Miscliff said, I wonder if European agencies / governments will distance themselves from Windows eventually. I would hope so. My money is on France, because I think the city of Lyon recently just went with open source or at least European programmed things in favor of the entire Microsoft Office Outlook suite, which again is kind of sweet. And I think especially for administrative things, Linux probably is the better call anyway, because with Windows you get so much bloat that you don't need if all you do is, I don't know, spreadsheets or database entries or something. So I would say, yeah, FOSS for anything that is governmental probably should be key, but yeah, what do I know? Console says, start page. I looked it up in the meantime. Oh, thank you. They seem to get the results from Google, and I don't know how that can work. Good question. Yeah, I don't know either. Like I said, so far the results have been pretty okay that I have from start page, and for me that's good enough. What I don't like is that well, let's click that banner web away, because what I don't like is seeing those banners and these pop-ups and the suggested sites and add results or anything. I really just give me the freaking search results. What's so hard about this? Oh, you don't make money when you just show me what I'm looking for, because that's the other thing with Google searches. They make money when you look at the ads. So their search, someone said, this is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, is their search has deteriorated in the past, not just by chance, but by design, so that you spend more time searching and see more ads as you refine your search terms. I mean, I'm not sure if this is true. Maybe this all comes down to the entire enshittification of everything. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Linux says, let me sleep. iOS isn't any less American. iOS, I think so. iOS, I mean, from my understanding is that Apple has a little bit a better track record when it comes to security and encryption and so on. But then again, in the end, probably if the government is pressuring them at some point, they will have their backdoors like everyone else. DC says, that's been the stated plan, I believe. Most of the public computers at my uni are on Linux, for example. Okay, that's good, which is what I'd expect considering it was developed here. Oh, you mean in Finland or in Europe? Which OS do you suggest then? Says Lady Misleaf to the Automated Unicorn, because the Automated Unicorn probably disagreed with something stupid that I said, and then it's fine to disagree. Can you change the engine? I believe Quant is a European search engine. I should be able to change it. I haven't really looked into it, but it should not be a problem. I mean, here with search, default search engine is start page, and let's go with Quant. There we go. Use the search engine in private. Well, probably also Quant then. And let's say European alternative apps. And I'm still in start page. European alternative apps. Let's see if it finds it as well. And yes, thank you. And there's even an extension. I mean, it really thinks it's Firefox now because it's running the same core in WaterFox. But yeah, that's pretty neat. Thank you for suggesting this. I will see how it goes. And it's suggesting me other searches. Oh, and we even have here an image search, which is again something. I'm a very visual person, so this is really what I like the most about Google, is that you can search for images or visually similar images and that sort of thing. But again, if I want this, I don't need this with every search. So that's very cool. Thank you so much. Lady Misleaf says, if they are true to their mission, I would probably go with Ecosia, no matter where they are located. Ecosia. Learning so much now. What is Ecosia? Never heard of this. The search engine that plants trees. And it also says it here in German, because apparently from my IP address it knows that I'm looking. I'm from a German IP, but I'd rather have it in English. Anyway, that's nice. It plants trees when you search there. And apparently they're not shy about 99 million euros dedicated to climate action, which sounds pretty good, actually. Thank you for putting that on my radar. Well, then I have to pin it and come back to it later. So yeah, Element. Let's also pin that. We will see how it goes. It's already signed up for it. So yeah, we will see how it goes. And yeah, if you are on Slack, Skype, Discord, WeChat, or Messenger or WhatsApp, yeah, you probably want to see what if there are alternatives for you. I mean, I had a hard time to get my parents to WhatsApp, and now they're not going to change the Messenger yet again. So it's really, that is the biggest problem I feel like with these platforms. If you only do it as an individual, you really need this networking effect, because if you can convince, for example, your entire social circle to go to, let's say, Briar, whatever that is, or Gemini or Tox, no idea what this is, then of course it's much easier if everyone again is on the same network. But nowadays it feels like, yeah, what's your WhatsApp number, and just send me your number and I will find you on WhatsApp. And so this is why everyone still has WhatsApp. Again, yeah. DC says, I don't know if you ever went over, but there's an extension called Go European, I believe, that puts a pop-up on any service which a European alt exists. Okay, I'm learning so much new. I have no idea. Okay, it's Go European. I kind of like this, because Europe has this tendency to always put itself down, where we say, yeah, we're not really that competitive and our software is really bad compared to the big startups from the US. And I say bullshit. It's really, it's just a different mindset. And there's so many smart people out there doing the Lord's work, and ideally even making it open source. or yeah, just free for people or not American. And again, yeah, I want to support this a little bit more going forward. Lady Miss Liv says, I've never had WhatsApp, but it bugs me when people assume I do. Yeah, that's the same thing at some point. Like I said, my parents now have it, and some people at work where I'm relying on there's a group for our neighbors here. So of course, everyone just assumes you have WhatsApp. It's the same thing with Facebook. And I tried not to have a Facebook presence for so long. Then when I was studying and we were making this short film, and I was of course studying marketing and social media management and that sort of thing. So of course you had to have a Facebook page. And so I said, yeah, I probably have to swallow the bitter pill and get on Facebook and look this through. And I've never enjoyed it. I mean, I posted there, I shared our updates there, and as soon as this entire thing fizzled out, I think the last time that I went on Facebook was like 8 or 10 years ago. And again, it always bugs me when someone says, here are this is the link of the photos of this event that you've been to, and you realize, okay, yeah, this was nice, it was a reunion, just click there and it's on Facebook. And when you're not logged in, good old Mark the Zuck is not going to let you in, not going to show you 1 pixel more than you absolutely have to see without you being logged in and being tracked. Anyway, I'm very cynical today. I'm really sorry for that. Lady Miss Liv says, and by people, I mean clients at work who'd all just go call me on what? Exactly. That's the thing. Don't have it, don't want me, email me. I think email me, that's the newest, that's the boomer thing. Just call me on my landline. It's email me. Yeah. I would never be allowed in the US because I have very few barely used social media accounts. Yeah, that is the other thing. Mine are very worn for use, I would say, and don't have anything that is very favorable of the current administration in there. So yeah. This ship has sailed. I went to the US, so we're still under the Biden administration. I had an enjoyable 2 weeks there, and I don't know if or when I will ever go there. Ah, dear. DC says, hate to say it, but it feels like we're not getting rid of WhatsApp for a very long time. Yeah, it's assumed, right? In Europe, I mean, anyway, yeah, there's so many things that are just like they have their claws deep in the flesh of our beautiful continent. Oh my God. But yeah, like I said, it's the small things that you can weed out that are easy for you. And then maybe if you feel comfortable, or if you say, yeah, really have now 2 days, let's make this a project and try to get rid of all my Google services and see what alternatives I can find. Of course, one big thing is what's on the phone, because many of us either have iPhones or Android-based phones. Of course, there are open alternatives to Android phones, or the Fair phone with all different versions of Android with the Google services stripped out. But one thing that I've recently heard is something that I didn't really consider, is that now banking apps, they don't support any weird app operating system out there other than the official ones, because of the whole security thing. So this is what I've heard, that people really had problems with authenticators and two-factor authentication and the banking app and the government issued apps on these kinds of free and open phones, because again, no one can guarantee that this works. And if you download some APK of some shady website, well, then it's security suddenly becomes an issue. So yeah, it's give or take. It's all a big thing that needs to be balanced out at some point. And yeah, we will see how things develop. My solution, or my current motto, has been don't try to do everything at once. Just small steps, like just change my browser, which is a relatively big step for me for now, and then again see how things go and adapt. Kirsty says it's a mess. And the Automated Unicorn chimes in and says, it's a mess. Sparkle, thank you, Automated Unicorn. And indeed it is. So yeah, pick your battles, try to look after yourself. Try not to get overwhelmed by trying to look at everything at the same time, because it's impossible and you will make yourself crazy and you're not helping. You're helping. First, you need to look after your own well-being and then lash out and attack where in the small radius that you can, and also while not killing or just out fatiguing yourself. I think this is we're playing the long game here, so try really to make sure that you take care of your mental health. And if that means, for example, to go on a detox of social media for a month or even a year or something, you do what you have to do. No one forces you to look at the news each day. I try myself to not look at all the headlines, because what I've realized is, why am I looking at headlines? Because I want to know what's going on. But most of the time it's bad, and then I'll be angry. So when I read a headline that starts with the White House or Trump, then I don't read it anymore, because I really, again, it's worn me down. I really need to focus and pool my energy elsewhere, and this is just so draining. Anyway, this went dark or philosophical or deep rather quickly. So overall, it's the small things that you can do and hope, and do things that make you happy, like your hobbies or whatever they may be, baking, or just read something that has nothing to do with current events. For example, what I've started reading again, let me show you, is in German and in Austria we have these things here. They're called Lustiges Taschenbuch, which is German for a funny paperback. And what is it? You can see here there is Donald Duck on the front, and yes, it's comics. And this has been running, I think, since the 70s. And each month there is a new paperback out. And I've been catching up on those that I bought for myself and never really read in the past 10 years. And this is my little respite from reality. So if you have something like this, I grant you permission to enjoy yourself. Pickalick90 is also here with Pixel Bob. Thank you so much for dropping by. DC says, "God damn it, Nokia, why did you have to screw up?" Yeah, I'm also missing Nokia. I think many of us have good memories of Nokia and then Microsoft and the Windows Phone. By the way, I think last time this was joked. Yeah, that's my Windows Phone, as you can see. Nokia was a good brand. I love their phones, especially the communicator. We will see what happens. Lady Mischief says, "We'll probably use that European alternatives for my game dev backup solution." See, always good to have a backup. And again, if it's an alternative, more baskets for your eggs. And the best thing, I would say, especially when you look into archiving, for example, is open standards or things that have really stood the test of time. For example, I recently found out old music that I made from the late 90s, early 2000s, and they are saved as bundle files in the Cakewalk format. Well, I mean, good thing is that the software corporation is still around that produces these things, but the backwards compatibility on their products is non-existent. So the only thing that I can open these files is to run to spin up a virtual machine with Windows 98 or Windows 2000 running with the software installed, of course, with a crack to get it running, and then to open my file and get it out as MIDI files and something else, so just that I can archive it and open it in 20 years to come. So the same thing goes for other things that you archive. It's with video files. I've had so many codecs that again didn't survive the test of time. Many that are in the AVI format, in the Windows video. What was it? AVI? What does it stand for? I don't even recall anymore. Some of the things that I saved it as with my codec for screen recordings that is lossless, which again is super important when you do screen recordings, especially of pixel games, because you don't want the JPEG artifacts to mush everything up. So I really wanted pixel perfect, and I had this one codec, and of course it was single threaded, and I think 10 years ago the only person who made it either died or just dropped off the face of the earth or something, and then someone also posted a correspondence with them where they said, yeah, I know that this part is broken. Yeah, just make sure that you don't have too many pixels of that value because this will trip up the encoder. I'm sorry, it's not going to be fixed. And all these kinds of things. So again, and now working on this post-mortem, I needed some footage of an old Tetris run that I recorded, again, probably 20-25 years ago in that format. Good thing is FFmpeg was able to open it. None other software was able to open it because the codec itself runs on Windows 32 and it didn't install under the current version of Windows. So I was this close again to installing it in my virtual machine. But FFmpeg did the job and now converted it to MP4 to HEVC. Also lossless, and so far I think I should be good. But again, this just goes to show open formats. It's so much easier because there's documentation for it. And should you need it in 20, 30 years, I mean, since it's still open, you can either do it yourself or find someone to make your files readable again. Anyway, Console says audio video. Oh, AV, audio video interleave. Thank you. That makes absolute sense. Right. Okay, so after going on for an hour about things that I actually just wanted to mention in passing, so long story short, I have WaterFox as my main browser, and it's good so far. Let's get back to what I actually wanted to do, and this is enjoy myself. And I'm enjoying myself nowadays when I'm not working on the post-mortem by doing... if you recall from last time, yeah, my Pixel Prophecy stuff website, it has been growing, and most of the time that I've been tinkering with it, it has been, yeah, tweaks to the CSS and making, for example, you can see here already in the background of the header, it scales nicely when I change the page size. Then the other things are have to do with the display of the cards. And I changed the fonts. So there is a new font that I'm using. Again, all my fonts, none of them are on Google hosted. So I host all the open fonts myself, which again, for some reason, makes the website super fast. And it feels nice that should I want to change the font or something, that I can. So, but what I realized is, of course, when you watch it there on mobile or open it on mobile, let's make this a little bit smaller. Which one do I want responsive? It says, let's go with an iPhone 11. Make this even smaller. And you can see here the scans and tools here. This is what I said. Yeah, there is now this scroll bar in case you want to use this. So this is why I wanted to make something that is a little bit more elegant. And I think the most common solution for categories that do not fit the width of the device nowadays is just use a burger menu. And when you click the burger menu, then it overlays everything on the page. You pick what you want to pick or where you want to go, and then you're good. So the thing is, I already have done this before when you head over to goodoldpixelprophecy.com. This is exactly what the burger menu up here is doing. Again, it's vanilla coded by yours truly. And I think also here when you make it the site even smaller, it still slides in, and in worst case just covers everything up on top. But this is where you are anyway when you're on your device. I have an error, hang on. Usually I pride myself in my pages not having any errors there. Just have to see what is going on. Console output. Downloadable font. Oh, Morrison failed. See, this is what happens when you host your fonts yourself. Oh, it's WAF, and it should be a WAF 2. That's the thing. So yeah, that's an easy fix. So right, so what how do these burger menus actually work? Essentially, under the hood, you can do most of it via CSS. What you actually do is you construct this menu in a div somewhere, and you put it at the side of your page, just outside of the view, and have the site not try to display it. So just cut it off where it should be outside of your view. And when you click the burger menu, all you do is you apply a CSS style to this div that slides in. When you click it again, you remove this style, which means it slides back to where it was before. So the slide comes through the transition. I think this is how I did it. Let's check. And I think this is relatively easy to do. So all it needs is some CSS and a very simple on-click JavaScript. So let me see how I did it here. So we have here div class navlink and on-click scroll to. So what I'm doing here is when I click something, we just scroll to the respective part there of the page. It's just with page anchors. So this again is not really applicable to the Pixel Prophecy stuff page, but it's just something that so I can have on-click actions to all these links. I mean, makes sense. So let's have a sip of water and then see how we can implement this. So first thing here, the burger menu. The burger menu itself is an SVG file, scalable vector graphics. I love them because they are super nicely rendered nowadays, always sharp no matter how far you zoom in, super small, and you can even style them with CSS, also the elements inside it. Oh, and here we have another person who is trying to get my attention, and I forgot how to do this. There we go.
Unpredictable.
Bye bye.
Prone to collapse.
Always nice to have a ban hammer once in a while.
Volatile.
All right, so I can just copy here. I mean the burger menu. What is the burger menu? Just three strokes inside a div. So essentially, I can just take this and copy it from Pixel Prophecy. So where do we put it? Probably in the header of Pixel Prophecy stuff. So here with Pixel Prophecy stuff, no matter on which page you are, of course, the header here with stuff is always on top being displayed. So it would make sense if there is this burger menu always present. So for this, we have the PHP snippet of the header. And here it says this list categories. So what I can do now is give this a box that essentially is this list of categories here. This lives in its own little div, I think. And when we're on mobile or when the entire width of the device is not sufficient to display all of them, then it switches over to the burger menu. So apparently, yeah, this here is the div. So maybe I should give it an ID. So style, flex, direction, overflow. So this is now inline styled. Maybe I want to pull it out. So instead I say div header categories list. There we go. So if I configured VS Codium correctly, when I head over and refresh, we should see live the update. So also you can follow along as I'm coding, because again, I'm testing in production like real man and other toxic shit that I've heard. So yeah, here is the ID header categories list. So just in case that we need it, and I add now div ID is, you know what, like I said, I want to copy this from pixelprophecy.com. Always good when you can reuse your own code. And for this, I already have Pixel Prophecy open. And let's have a look here at how I'm doing this on Pixel Prophecy. So what I'm including is PHP mod header. So let's look into the header. And what is happening here? Okay, so this is just, yeah, the header and nothing really that's being rendered. So there we have the style. There we go, navigation. And I call this nav burger and burger nav toggle. You know what? I will just copy this as it is and paste it. Oh yeah, one thing that is kind of cool, as you've probably noticed here, is the ligatures from this font. So when I'm typing now this here, you will notice as soon as I do the other dash, suddenly it jumps over into this nice very nicely formatted arrow with the exclamation mark. Same thing also on the other side. So that's again pretty cool. And how is this possible? Well, I mean, I'm just using a font that does this. And in my case, this is what I've grown accustomed to over the last, I would say, half a year or so. This has become now my favorite font for anything code. And the code is, the font is called Vierer Code. So this is also, I think, an open font. And I've been using it now for all my editors because, again, it just feels neat. Or, for example, if you do the triples equals signs, let me show you. If A triple equals B, it really is a triple equals. It also has three bars there. Again, small things that I really like. But you probably know that I enjoy my fonts. So, header. So this is now where I paste it. So I call this navigation. But I will just call it burger. And let's see how this looks. Or if it looks, if we actually see anything already. And I don't actually see it. Have I refreshed? Center box. Categories list. Oh yeah, the burger is here, but it has no size. So if I say, let's say width, 12 pixels, there we go. So it is there, but it wasn't visible. So for this, I of course need then to do some overrides there in my CSS. So the nav burger, and yeah, this is just the SVG file. And from that, I can just style the CSS. Lady Mistcliff says, I'm going to take Doggo outside for some snow playtime. Oh, wonderful. Winter is having snow playtime. This is nice. We'll leave a lurk. Have a good stream. Thank you so much. Send you warmest regards to Winter. And yeah, lots of fun Doggo playtime. And again, thank you for dropping by, for participating in the chat, and for hopefully lurking. DC says, I think your postmortems have Pavloved me because every time I watch your streams, I start craving coffee. Oh dear. Yeah, if it helps, I had some coffee myself today. And already today, even I edited footage of myself making and drinking coffee. So probably that's the thing. So also please, if you Pavlov yourself, also Pavlov yourself into staying hydrated, because with coffee, we all know that coffee is draining the liquids from your body. So be sure to fill them up. I hope it's not too bad, a venereal disease, for you to have coffee right now at this time of day. So Navburger, where is my CSS? Well, my CSS is in styles stuff. So, and probably I should have some navigation here. So navigation container, nav button, there we go. So this is where we can put the burger as well. So we called it nav burger. Let's make some rules for nav burger, and the width. Let's say width is 24 pixels, and maybe that should already be it, that we can see it here. Yes, we can see it here. Does it look nice? Not particularly yet. The reason for this being is that this center box there is a flex, and it's a flex row. So when we click this, you can see here, so the logo is one entry, one part of in this row. The other is whatever this is, all the categories, and so the other is the burger menu. And this dashed thing here means this is now just empty space. It's not being utilized. So okay, we thankfully have decaf. That's good. Also, when I'm too long in the cafe, and I'm talking about like 6 to 8 hours sometimes I spend in the cafe, and I think my third coffee that I have is also decaf. And yeah, some of the waiters already react over the top, amused or surprised when I order decaf. Right, okay, so how to do this? First, before I say how we want to do this, what do I want actually to happen? So I want that this burger menu sits there always on the very right, and probably also on the bottom there. I'm not quite sure if it should sit at the bottom, but yeah, we will figure this out. So align items, and then I just go through here the options that we have. So this is of course the alignment, the vertical alignment, not the horizontal alignment, or other way around. So, for example, last baseline, as it is, looks kind of okayish, or self-end. I think that probably is the best here, so that we align the items. The other is to justify the items, or was it justify content? To me, all these words, align items, justify items, I never really know what is what. So I always try it. So content, there we go. Okay, so I think space between is the one, no space between, or space evenly, or probably here at start. As it is, should be already good, but then I can say justify self for the burger menu at the very end. So I will try this now. Nav burger, justify self, end, and it doesn't work. Align self, end, no, because now it's aligning itself vertically and not horizontally. How can I do this? I mean, justify content, no. I mean, actually it should be justify self, but that is not working because justify self has no effect on this element since it's not a grid item. Try adding display grid or display inline grid. So justify in this case does not work. So I probably need to figure out how to do this through my trusty CSS Flexbox, the complete guide. And yes, the link works here now. So this is the website that is probably the most worn for wear that I use. So what I want here is the justify content as we had, with one having to be at the flex end. And here we can say align self, flex start, flex end. Yes, this is what we had. But I want... Okay, we're already at the end of the page. Also what's funny, it's always, okay, the browser support and always Internet Explorer is like, what is HTML? No, I'm running my own version of it. Anyway, so Martijn, if Martijn were here, he probably would say use a damn grid, but I say I don't know how grids work, or I mean I do know, but I'm much more used to using flex boxes, so this is why I'm running here the flex. I'm trying to do this here with flex because I'm flexing my CSS skills. That's what it is. So align content and the space around and the space between, and gap, row gap, column. It feels like there should be a trick to it, which I just haven't figured out yet. Why did I close this? So okay, instead let's try and see what we already have figured out. So the one thing is in the entire box here, in the header box, what I said was justify or align items self end, and justify contents here at start, which is the default anyway. I mean, space between also could work. I mean, it looks a little bit lopsided, but at least this having space between makes it sure that the burger menu is always on the right. You know what? I will go with this for now. So, where were we before? We were in the head and in the header, and I have here the style. Okay, so the style entirely was done inline. So then I just add to it. And this apparently was not it. Okay, oh yeah, I had justify items. And this I set to... Wait, no, this is the center box. I'm in the wrong... It's always in the wrong div. So the center box, by the way, in case you're wondering, is when you zoom out, really zoom out, or for example, you have a super wide screen, I don't want, for example, that this sorts all the way to the left and the other things all the way to the right. So I'm using some sort of center box that has the maximum width of the page, while the background image, as you can see here in the category background and then all these other bars or modules here, they stretch all the way. Same here with the footer. But of course, the actual content should be in the center. And this is why I'm using here this center box class that, everything just sits neatly in the center. So just so you know why I'm using another div. I think there has been with CSS, you're in trouble when you have like 12 divs nested, but at some point, especially when you're doing galleries or something, there's probably no way around it. Maybe use a grid, Martijn probably would say, but yeah. Then again, if you look at other web pages and just open up and see how they organize things, you know what, in this case, it doesn't look too bad actually. There's just big div, and then there's a smaller div, and another div, and a form and a button. That's kind of okay. But if you look at things like everything with a social timeline, it's just divs upon divs. But I apparently was here in the wrong line items, in the wrong div, which makes sense because this is a part of the flex. This is part of the flex. Actually, no, it should have been correct. So let's try this again. So we're here in the center box, and then we say align items self end and justify items space between, just to see if we have a change there. Wrong website. No. So, okay, self, align, self, end, that worked. Justify items. Probably mistyped something. No. Okay, probably the other way to make this work is to just make the middle box bigger. The category, the header categories list. And let's try this by having margin right, auto, and bam, that was it. So the margin here pushes whatever this is to the very end. And this is exactly what I wanted. So again, that's the other thing with CSS. Maybe the rule that you want is actually in another div. Right, so margin right auto. Where was this? So the categories box overflow X. This is all inline style here. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I mean, it's good in a sense that I know it's exactly happening where it's sitting where it's happening. Whereas if I stuff it in here in this big styles stuff CSS, which is 1,400 lines long already, probably takes me a little bit longer to find. And since this is only used once here in the header, I think this should be all right. Okay, then we got the burger menu. Let's see if we can change here the color. So what I see is that we here inside the SVG file, when we're defining how it should look like, we have here the style of the strokes, and here it says the color is of a variable color B triple L. So the cool thing is, again, it can read the variables that I defined here in my CSS inside the SVG file, which I really find is pretty neat. So instead of, so this means I can easily change the colors here, because right now it's doing the bright gray colors, which I do not want. Instead, I want to say color A and dark, 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 dark. So quadruple D means super dark, and this changes to whatever I've defined as color for this. So one thing is why I'm using this kind of color definition, so that I'm using all colors, let me show you here, as variables, is in case, just in case, should I ever want to change one of the signature colors, then every other color will, all the other different shades of the same color will change as well. So the three colors that I've defined for my website are color A is the yellow, color B is the gray, and color C is this aqua color. So should I want to at some point change here my color A to something else from yellow, let's say we want to go purple or pink in this case. So the only things that aren't changing are here the logo, because that's an image, and also an image here, the background, I think the background color is also an image. But everything else here, of course I need to make this permanent. Everything else is derived from these colors, which again is kind of cool if you really want to quickly try out a color scheme. So let's go with, let's say, pink and dark blue. And now the entirety of the web page has updated by just changing here what is color A and color B, because I've been using all other color definitions as relative definitions. So again, with that, it's super easy to give should I ever need to, different pages, different flavors. Again, kind of cool. Console says variables are also the best way to handle switching between a dark and light scheme. Yeah, that is the other thing, because in that case I can say all the things that I've used light, light, light. For example, as a rule, use dark, 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 and vice versa, and then maybe do some overrides there. But again, yeah. It took me a long time to figure out to use variables in CSS more often. I try not to go overboard with it, that I need a variable preprocessor where I'm just concatenating strings together or something. But I was kind of close. I mean, when you look at my CSS here, you can see in my fonts, I'm already using PHP variables here, because again, I do not want to type out the URL of the fonts every time, and because this might change, I mean, I think it's even defined relatively here from where the CSS sits. But overall, again, it's just I'm lazy and I don't want to do lots of typing. Right. Okay. So let's get back to the head, where we have things. Okay. Now the burger menu is a little bit hard to see. Yep, relative works. Good. Thanks for confirming. As always, I say I'm just an amateur who's had lots of experiences doing things the incorrect way. So more or less, I just banged my head so often that I know, okay, I banged my head like 20 times in this place, and this is the one place where I didn't bang my head. So probably this is the way forward. And this is how I taught myself to program. So when people here in the chat, chances are very likely that you are more proficient than me. So thank you for saying that I'm doing things correctly, because this helps me bang my head hopefully a little bit less. So okay, let's try and make this the nav burger bigger and just see what happens when I make it real big. I mean, again, it's sometimes you really look for the burger menu with some pages where it's super small, and at the same time I don't want it to be overly huge, because then of course it's a little bit too much in your face. So maybe something in between. Let's go with, let's say, 40 pixels, and well, now it needs a background, so let's go with background color, and again I have here my colors, and then let's go with my color A as background. Then let's say height is also 40 pixels, or I mean, I could also use the aspect ratio, but I'm not sure how common that is among browsers. Anyway, let's say padding, not passing, padding, let's go with 12 pixels and see what's happens. Yeah, I think this, just give it a little bit more of a border there with 4 pixels, and that it doesn't stick this much to the side. Let's go with a margin right of 3 pixels or a little bit more, 7 pixels. That kind of looks good. And as soon as we scale this down here and it gets into conflict with whatever is happening here, yeah, this is really something that I need to look into, because now it starts to shrink and look just ugly, because we need to make these things disappear. And probably, I mean, maybe I don't even want to show the burger menu when I can also show all the categories or whatever I want to put there in here, and then just switch as soon as there is no more room left. Kirsty says, I was playing with HTML CSS today too, tried variables for the first time thanks to these. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, CSS is a rabbit hole, I feel, because at first you go like, yeah, all it does is change the color. I mean, I can do this easily also in HTML. Why should I bother with CSS? And then you realize that you can do 3D things, really 3D objects via CSS. And yeah, this is just one part of how deep that rabbit hole goes. It's kind of neat. Craving about coffee, says Console. Sure, but I'm starting to get hungry from all the burger menu talk. Maybe should we call it differently? So my parents always call this the radiator. So the thing where your heating comes out of, because for some reason or my mom also said it looks like the side of a washing machine because it always has this little indents there. Yeah, burger menu, someone started with it, and I totally get it. I mean, maybe we should have a pizza menu where it's just so a circle with a segment taken out, but then we could call it the Pac-Man menu. So many good ideas. Okay, let's see. Maybe let's have a margin at the bottom as well and see how that goes. Let's go also with 6 pixels. And this doesn't do anything because it says here we have the flex invalid property. Oh, Magrin, I thought the flex didn't allow it for us. No, the flex is completely fine with us doing this. So maybe we can put it here on top. And as always, if something is interactable, always make it sure or make it clear that it is interactable. It's Heizung, I love it. Exactly, it's the Heizung. At least on mobile, if you don't have anything else but the burger menu, you know how to click it. But on desktop, I always say it's good to have some hover effects on top of it. It's the juice of a website. Console says, I recently learned that the commonly used sharing icon, square with an arrow out, has a cute nickname, Sharrow. Oh, really? That's cute. The Sharrow, the sharing arrow. Yeah, while we're on the topic of icon talk, I've heard it on the socials, I think the other week, that the filter icon, you know, the what's it called? I'm blanking out now. The siphon. I think that's what it is. Is it siphon? Damn it, I'm not quite sure. So the thing that is used as a filter, and someone said, oh, it's a martini glass. That's also a thing. And as for the save icon, you know, the floppy icon with the floppy label and the floppy protector on top. I've also seen this where a group Japanese teenagers were wondering why the save icon is a vending machine with just a single can in the dispenser at the bottom. Funnel, thank you, Frank. That's the thing, funnel. Kersey says, video games have all sorts of custom menus to experiment with. Indeed. And isn't this fun? Because with operating systems, everything should look the same and be super coherent. But as soon as you're inside a game and have your operating system UI elements there that clearly look like, okay, this is a Windows box, suddenly you feel like, okay, this looks super lazy and I don't like it. When you're in a game, you want a custom UI just for this game. I mean, of course, there are certain game types that use the Windows UI elements to the maximum. I'm talking about very dry and very complex war games or war strategy games where everything is a window or an icon or a rollout or some other sort of dash. I mean, for that's okay, but I mean, if you when you're playing a fantasy game and you want when a text box pops up, you want that it has the worn edges and it looks like some old wood with intricate metal workings. You don't want the big old Windows gray thing. Anyway, just something that I thought while I was playing Starfield. Yes, I'm still playing Starfield. You heard me bitch about it and joke about how inept nowadays AAA developers are. But still, for some reason, now that I'm committed, I can look past these things. I still see them, and it still irks me when you feel like, okay, why is this not? Hasn't this? It feels like there is so much polish left on the table. Anyway, having lots of fun, still playing it. I think I'm close to the ending right now. Okay, anyway, Frank says game UIs are really a balancing act between convention and styling. I think you hit the nail on the head, as we say in German. or I think you also say it in other languages, but exactly that's the point. Because if it's too playful, and I'm thinking about some Japanese games there where it's just this overwrought baroque thing where it's really hard to figure out what is actually selected right now. And the other thing, of course, if it's too dry. I mean, I recall people talking about the Skyrim AI because it felt a little bit too jarring. So the vanilla Skyrim AI, since we're on the topic, Skyrim UI, not AI, is just the Helvetica font, Helvetica Narrow. And when you look at it, it doesn't really, apart from these little flourishes here, these little ornaments. This is already... I mean, this is not the original font there, but Sky UI, yeah, that's the one. But I think here we can better see it. If it won't let me scale it up. But you can see here, hopefully, between all the compression artifacts. Yeah, this looks like more or less like how you would play a bureaucratic strategy game or management game, and you don't feel you're part of this fantasy world. But then again, I mean, Bethesda has learned to some extent from the mistakes that they did in Oblivion beforehand, because the Oblivion font was pretty wide and also very, very handwriting in style, and in German everything was an abbreviation. So you had like just so that it could fit into a text box, and then you would have something like a.sch.d.hr. Plating or something. And so I think this was their way of making this somewhat not a concern by just using a font. But again, does it really feel Norse and fantasy? I wouldn't say. Probably it doesn't. I think here you can... I just want to look at the picture. Can I open it here? Yes. Apart from the worn leather here, to me, again, this does not look so much like a fantasy UI and more like a bland, random, boring AI. Anyway, nail on head is English there too. Okay, good. then we're getting closer with our expressions. And Frank says, people still need to understand what you're doing without following a 3-day. That is the thing. Your user interface, since it's an interface, it should be as frictionless as possible. And as soon as you have friction of any sort, that's bad. I mean, you can have some sort of positive friction, where it's not so much a friction. It's this skeuomorphic design of, okay, it's wood, this is leatherwork, and so on. So where you go like, okay, the text is slightly harder to read, but it really fits in there, and it gives this nice warm handwritten, handmade feeling that really fits. Or maybe have some super slick neon metal for a cyberpunk game. I don't know, but it fits. But as soon as you go, okay, you can't read through the glow effect, is this a plus or is this a minus in front of the stat? That's of course an issue. Indeed, yeah. Yeah, this is not vanilla as a console. I think the last one that I've shown, or is this one also not vanilla? Or the first one wasn't. Anyway, says Frank, it's easy. You want your game UI to be playful, so you use Comic Sans. Done. Exactly. It's that simple. If you want an emotional reaction, use that font. You will get an emotional reaction, and then use Papyrus or something. Okay, back to styling it. Hopefully I didn't refresh the page while I was talking, because I haven't copied this. So let me just copy this here for my nav burger. And nav burger. I'm really sorry that I'm saying burger that much. So, and then we can say, what if it's hovered? Or what if it's active? Why is it here differently highlighted than it is here? Did I type something wrong? Anyway, we will figure it out. I'm just changing the background color and the foreground color. So the background color to color, let's go A, dark, 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 or not that dark, and then see how it changes, or if it changes. Yes, it does change indeed. So now, of course, I want here these things to change, the lines, and they are of path type or class S. Okay, we can do this. Kirsty says, in Firefox or WaterFox 2, you can save the CSS in the debug window. Can you not? Don't have to copy it out. Oh, really? But then it's all the CSS, right? And not just the one that I want. But since this is a Firefox fork, it probably should do this as well. Didn't know this. Thank you, Kirsty. Frank says you could call it a city dweller menu to avoid making people too hungry. A city dweller menu. Doesn't roll off the tongue like burger, but city dweller. That's nice. Let's call it a city dweller menu because they're stacked, right? Is that the intention? So how do I do this? Okay, so here, since we're in the nav burger and we're having a path of type S, and for this one we want to say, what was it? Stroke, right? Stroke is, yes, for this we want the stroke to be dark. Stroke variable color A or color B. Oh, let's go with color A, and let's make this dark, dark, dark. But only, of course, when it's hovered. Okay, so I'm nesting now my nested CSS. Probably, that probably bad. So no, of course, we don't want this dark. We want this to be bright yellow again. Okay, let's see if I completely broke it. I didn't break it, but it's also not doing what I wanted to do, what it should be doing. So must be a selection issue. So we're here when it's the nav burger. The ID is of nav burger that is hovered, or the nav burger is active, and then we're also ending, and it's of type path, and it's, you know what, if I take out the class, maybe that works. Yes, taking out the S class worked. Okay, so maybe I can make it even darker still when we hover over it. There we go. Okay, Kirsty says try Style Sheet Edit tab. Let's try this. Okay, so F5, Style Sheet Edit tab. Where is this? Is it up here? No. Frank says, what does burger mean originally? That's a good question. I mean, I always thought it's from Hamburger, from the city of Hamburg, and that is just how these people like to eat their bread, just stacked. Okay, style editor. It says style editor. Ah, this one. This makes sense. And then probably show original names. Okay, right click. Oh, there it says save. Right off the top. Okay. And there I can save it, and it still looks like how I saved it. So the only thing, of course, that it does not do probably is my, yeah, here we go, my font, my PHP variables that are being, not PHP, yes, PHP, sorry, too many abbreviations. So that's probably won't work, but it's cool. Didn't know that this, I only used the inspector. Thank you, Kirsty. Learning so much again today. So, okay, Frank says, I mean, yes, but the city of Hamburg is Hamburg, with Berg meaning something and having inhabitants. Okay, the Berg, yeah, Berg also means fortress in German. Okay, typed, I thought you were sad about it being called a Berg and you can't make sense of it. Ermagerd, it's a Berg. That old meme always gets me. Ermagerd. Okay, so I think I have everything that I want for now here. So one thing that we can now try and do is as soon as we change here. Yeah, that's an interesting question. How can we tell CSS, okay, as soon as the space here is not sufficient for this one div, as soon as it needs to change that div, we want to hide it all together and then unhide the burger menu instead. Okay, I mean, I can hard code it by setting a certain width. For example, in this case, it would be like 400 pixels. And if 400 pixels is exceeded, only then we show the categories, for example. But do I have it? Can I make it a little bit more elegant? That's the thing. Okay, Frank says, looks like I should spell it Bürger and make it clear. Oh, now it works. Yes, Bürger, that is true. That is citizen or city dweller. Indeed. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's as always, the umlaut makes the difference, which is something that metal bands clearly do not care for. But I've said this before. So when I see the band Motorhead with the latest album and they have the umlauts on both O's, I still can't help but read in my brain Motorhead, because of course it's a completely different sound than without the dots on top. And same thing is for Motley Crue. I really have to force myself to say it Motley Crue, not Mötley Crüe, because again the umlauts just in my brain, it's burnt in. Okay, so right. Let's see. So this is here in the headers category list. So overflow is set to auto. So when now the overflow, as soon as this starts getting squashed, then something happens. Right. Dutch would be Burger. Okay, and English would be Burger. Burger. That, of course, different languages, and you never know which one is it supposed to be this time. Or you go with English and they just, whatever word they encounter, they just pronounce English and they're good with it. It's also the Wolfenstein, not Wolfenstein, as it would be correct. But Cursibü, there we go. Indeed, see, this is I cannot change how I read things in my mind when I see them. It's Cursibü now. Congratulations. Okay, so what am I doing here with Pixel Prophecy? I think here the burger menu is always visible. Okay, when I hover over it, I'm not changing the think first, then try to say what you thought of. Okay, so the actual strokes are getting brighter, not darker, as is the case here. So should I mimic this so that the hover effect looks the same on both pages, which I would say is a strong yes. So that having the burger menu, the city dweller menu here, when it's not active, should look different. So the background color should be, what was it? Be dark. And the foreground color, and that was and path. Stroke is of variable color also B, that is the gray color, but light. Yeah, it's not working. I mean, the background is working, but not the foreground. So, a clip path, that's what happened. Thanks, auto correct. So, okay, there we go. And Snow Drama is here. Thank you for dropping by, Snow Drama. I know you from the good old, I wanted to say Discord. No, it's Blue Sky. Thank you for dropping by. Got starting a movement to change the English spelling to Borgor. That makes sense. That I am all for new spellings, especially when you already have a voice to say in your head. For example, there is this one game called Vampire, but with a Y instead of the I. So it's super fancy, and in German it always in my brain, I don't read it as vampire, but as vampyr, which is a fun thing to say. Also, when you notice, oh, there's a vampire, a vampyr. It's so fun. And Frank says all the English spelling, not just of that word. Indeed. That's English spelling. It's just whatever word. It's now English because we pronounce it English in English. Okay, so the burger menu, the city dweller menu is, yeah, gotta reset English. Oh yeah, in German we had something similar in the late 90s that we called the new the new correct spelling in German. It was called the neue Rechtschreibung, and they changed, for example, certain words because many people just wrote them incorrectly all the time, and they, for example, some English or some French words, they do the thing that the Swedish people sometimes do, and they just essentially used the letters that in German, when you read it in German, it sounds like the French, but of course the word looks completely different. So you don't have to understand that, for example, jargon, that the J is pronounced J, but in German you just have SCHARGON. I mean, not with that word. I don't think that jargon with SCH is a thing, but yeah. And really, this was just when I learned writing in school, and of course, suddenly you thought you had grammar and everything down. Also, where you put commas, for example, changed, or with certain articles that you can write now with 2 letters instead with a long S, and all these kinds of weird things. And this happened at the worst time when I thought I finally had figured out German. Then they said, yeah, but everything you learned, well, most of it is wrong. This is the new way to do it. And of course, it's still to this day, certain things I write in the old German style. Anyway, we need a reset. Borgor. Borgor. And Venereal Disease said, I thought that's how vampyr is actually pronounced. See, it rolls off the tongue absolutely naturally. And we got triple letters. Yeah, Sauerstoffflasche, the triple letters. Thank you, German, new German grammar. Yes, we finally got triple letters. Something that we really were aching for. And the other thing is, we had this long S that looks like a little bit like a beta symbol, but without the descender. And so at first I thought, okay, good. All this complicated S-Schreibung, this where you use this long S instead of double S's, because that's a difference. And I thought finally they abolished the long S and we do not have to worry about it. Pustekuchen. Of course, it's still there. It's just different rules, but it still is there. And this is one of the things that usually trips me off, because if you say it where it's very long, then you use the long S, and if it's very sharp, then you use the double S. And yeah, it's kind of subjective, isn't it? Snow Drama says, of course they change as soon as you feel like you finally get it. It's a bit like with programming languages, right? Frank says, German spelling wasn't too horrible. I think the problem with English is that they entirely changed how the language is pronounced after fixing the spelling. And while fixing the spelling, they sometimes try to be too fancy. Yeah, that is one thing with English. I mean, with French, it's the worst. It's worse because with French, it feels like, okay, you have a word that's like 8 letters, and like 3 of them are inaudible. Have fun figuring out what those 3 letters are, and sometimes it's super excessive, where the word is like this and it's pronounced like and it's like, where then you use too many letters. They are so decadent. They get letters that you don't even hear when they speak. Venereal Disease says, in my language, we avoid all confusion by having 36 letters in our alphabet. See, 36. That's a good baseline. Yeah, just have more letters. Again, with German, I think we only have 4 additional letters. Like I said, the 3 umlauts and the long S, and that's. I mean, it's still not basic ASCII compliant, but that's a different story. But yeah, having 36, I mean, you got 10 bonus letters. Congratulations. Yeah, French spelling is easy. It says, okay, please enlighten me, Frank. Why is French spelling easy? In the meantime, I will try to continue working there on the City Dweller menu. Okay, so the background is yellow when it's highlighted. It is color B, and the stroke is color A, but super light. Color A, not color B. There we go. Okay, good. That is correct. I mean, now, of course, when it's hovered, there is no distinction on against the background. So maybe I want to give it a little bit of a glow effect as well, because I'm feeling fancy. So when it's hovered, we change the background color, and we have box shadow. There we go. 0, 0. Let's go with 10 pixels radius of color white. Color A, light. Let's see how this looks. I mean, now it really looks like there's some sort of a light bulb being switched on inside. Maybe it's a little bit too strong, but I mean, it reads very well against the black and a little bit there against the yellow. I mean, after all, the yellow of the background of the after the stripes and the yellow there when it's highlighted, it's the same yellow, but thanks now to the glow, it looks like there is some sort of that the yellow of the button is darker than the yellow underneath. But this is really just an optical illusion thanks to the glow. I love it when things happen like this. They really mess with your visual cortex. Okay, French spelling is easy. I mean, says Frank, yes, French has things like you have to know, like O is O, and then it's really not that different from having to know that O-E is Ö. That's also in German. When you cannot type the umlauts, you just put an E afterwards and you know that it's... Okay, and Snow Drama misses PHP. Yeah, I'm a little bit, when it comes to PHP, what happens with me is I do not like it, because in the end, what always happens is that I write PHP that modifies JavaScript that I also echo as PHP out, and it's just super confusing in the end for everyone, especially myself. And so this is why I have here my JavaScript functions here in individual files, so that I can just include them into my PHP, so that I don't have to print them as inline. But I still do this. But apart from that, I hope you can also get back to PHP at some point then. Frank says, and yes, a silent letter here and there, but they tend to be relatively regular and not entirely random like in English. Yeah, that is the other thing. In English, it's, if you haven't seen it before or haven't learned it, how to spell certain things. For example, you take the lead on something, or this pipe is made of lead. You have to know it. If you read it, even from context, you cannot. You have to infer from context how it's being pronounced. And the other thing in English is that was when I was at university, where they said how to pronounce this. I think this one, and of course it's pronounced fish, right? It's fish there, because the this part is from enough. There is the F, then the E is from women, and oh yes, I think this is, and the TI is from something like negotiation, right? And so that's fish. Yeah, this is also not how you write it. That's the correct one. So yeah, goatee is fish. Right, I probably should take this out of my index.php then. Snow Drama says, yeah, I get that. I haven't done it since I last did it for work. It was my first language I did as a career, haha. Yeah, PHP, I mean, it's good to get started, because I've heard from other people that if you know proper programming languages such as C or just others, you're appalled by how inconsistent PHP is. For example, where some things return a true, some things return a false, a boolean, or just a string that says false, and you always have to like triple equals everything and make sure that the types line up. And you, as always, it's a language where you should always have the documentation open, so you know, okay, this function is almost the same as the other function, but in this one it expects the parameters backwards. Things like this. You have to know this, otherwise you cannot figure it out because it's just so inconsistent. Always cracks me up. Okay, right. So we have now here the burger menu, and we even have a uncode reference because burger nav toggle is not defined, which is fine for now because again I want it to disappear. And again, maybe I need to do some research to understand if this is possible what I want with CSS only, where to sum up, when however long this list of categories, for now it's categories, is, as soon as it gets modified or clipped or squashed from CSS, then it should know that, okay, I do not fit there anymore. I hide myself, and instead this burger menu gets unhidden. Right. Kirsty says, today I was generating HTML from regular code, just writing to a file one string at a time. Oh, that feels so wholesome, doesn't it? Oh, this is nice. I always like it when, for example, I write a function or in some tool and it outputs HTML that opens in a browser. And at the same time, as much as I like it, I know that I will not get any more work done on it because, of course, I have to make the HTML output look nice. And I mean, I can spend way too much time to make a plain text file that the output looks nice and indented, everything, that it really everything works together well. And yeah, as soon as you have like this kind of formatting, then it's, yeah, there's no hope for me. But it's fun. It's fun. Right. You know what? For now, I will just more or less hard code it, probably. Most work was spent on the CSS. Yeah, there we go. Okay. One thing that I really like about this CSS and HTML is, for example, I mean, here with Pixel Prophecy, since everything should look relatively coherent, I have this one master CSS file that essentially themes everything in this golden rod in dark gray. Again, this is why I'm using so many variables and relative changes to these variables. So because then that essentially I can, if you look at the page source, that I can write HTML more or less like it's been written in the 90s. So apart here from the functions here, but what we have is good old, okay, it's apart from, okay, it's not like it's written in the 90s, so I'm not using any tables and I'm stuffing everything into a div. But apart from that, I'm using H1, H2, H3 to structure things. And so if I take out the CSS file, it should more or less look pretty much unaffected, like a website from 1997 or something. So so all the styling just comes from the CSS. So theoretically, I should I do a different kind of design for Pixel Prophecy in the future? Hopefully not, because I really like how it looks right now. All I need to do is change one CSS and all my other pages, all the changes will ripple through. That is the idea. It probably will never happen, but it would be nice. Kirsty says, yeah, most work was spent on the CSS. I already read that. And the dream, right, it is, you spend so much time making things like I've shown before. I don't know if you were present, Snow Drama, when I said, for example, here, or is it with Gritty? Yeah, that all my colors are defined here in color A, color B, color C, and all the variants like color darker are, as you can see here, derived through these kinds of formulas from the original. So should I want to change my main colors to pink and instead of gray to, what did we have before? This steel blue. Everything lines up nicely. Also here now with glow is now purple or pink, and I really love it when things like this just work. Again, yeah, the the background here is. Those are hard coded colors. But apart from that, it's kind of neat when this works. Didn't mean to close the tab. Right. That I can close, and yeah, that I can close as well. F12, and where were we? Okay, so the city dweller menu is, I'm not sure if it's looking kind of nice or if it's sticking too much on the top. I mean, let's see how it looks there on mobiles. Let's go with Galaxy S20. Yeah, and now here we have the issue that it's already being squashed. CSS variables are huge, says No Drama. I love them. I added theme colors to my site as I was putting it together. See, that is as soon as you can see how or understand how to use variables in CSS. So when the first I realized it, oh my god, I do not have always to search and replace in the entire file for this hex code when I want to change a color. This again, it's really fun when it works because it feels so powerful. And so this is why I'm always using color A and color B and not yellow and gray, because should I want to change it, then I know, okay, this is color A, this is color B, this is color C, and that there's enough hue hue contrast between them, and I don't have to care about anything. And as Console said before, it's also much easier to make a CSS for a dark or a light scheme then. Okay, and so let's now do this hiding thing. So what I have in my CSS is I have certain overrides when the page width is of a certain width. So the first cutoff is here 900 pixels, then one at 600 pixels, and one that is when it's at 360 pixels. So those are the steps that change here how the page looks. Especially, for example, when you have here open an item. So as soon as if it gets too small for these two bars next to each other, for these two columns, so it switches now that the headline is now outside and the descriptive text is now on the bottom. And I think if I make it even smaller, then at some point, yeah, the icon jumps on top. So again, it always should look relatively nice with a nice big icon, so that you can see what is happening. So the question is, at what point is the list of categories too long? I mean, I would say 4 items. I mean, right now they are categories. Maybe I change it to categories or to jump to something. Hydration. Thank you, Kirsty. Hydrating. And posture check. Yeah, I'm having as my office chair for years now. Before I wanted, I mean, in the beginning I had an IKEA office chair. Then I set my sights on a gaming chair, and Connie got herself a gaming chair. But we realized it. Oh my god, it really is not that comfortable. I mean, it's if you're when you actively doing, I don't know, esports and are very leaning forward most of the time, for that it works. But if you want to work or leisurely work sometimes it doesn't really, it's not very comfortable. And then in the office I had one colleague swear that they found the best chair for life, and it was this kind of Herman Miller office chair. And I tested it and I realized it is super comfortable and also airy and super expensive. So I got a refurbished one. And the only downside is, for some reason I tend to slump down in it, and it's not helping that the back of the chair is allowing me that. And yeah, at some point probably Maybe I think what also contributes, I'm just realizing it, maybe my screens are a little bit too low so that I'm always looking slightly down, but as soon as I'm slumped down, I can look straight ahead. Maybe that's the thing. Yeah, and at least venereal disease needed the posture check. So all good, at least it helped you. But yeah, sometimes I feel like, why is my back hurting? And then you realize, yeah, for the last 2 hours I was positioned like a shrimp, like this. This was my profile, and somewhere I had my hand with a mouse like this. And doing this, I can feel it in my shoulder that this bad, and probably I've had it too much this week. Frank says, slumping down is fine. Your camera can track you so nobody will notice. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what's in the background. When you're at the same level as the, I don't know, the power outlets and the dust bunnies, and probably you might notice that I'm slightly slumped down. Console says, I switched from IKEA to Steelcase. A proper office chair makes a gigantic difference. Hard to get unless you set in one. That is the thing. It's a little bit like with VR. So it's super hard to tell people how an amazing VR is going to be an experience for them if they haven't tried it. If you cannot plop it on their face and have something that doesn't make them puke, it's really something where it's like, okay, now I get it, what this VR hype is. It's the same thing is with office chairs. If you say, yeah, you probably should invest in a different office chair, 99% of the people will say, why? It's fine. It wasn't too cheap. It wasn't especially not too expensive. It's fine. But as soon as you've set yourself in a good chair, suddenly you realize the difference. And of course, then your butt will never want to go back. That is the hard part. And so this is why we have 2 of these chairs. Like I said, they're super expensive. So if you can get them refurbished, I got mine refurbished and didn't have any problems with it. And I'm having this one now for almost, I think, 8 years now. Like I said, cannot recommend them enough. They should pay me for recommending them. Okay, so let's say as soon as we jump over from under the 600 pixels, I would say then has the time come to display the burger, the city dweller menu. So this should be relatively simple. So we are here at, okay, if the max width is 600 people, what am I talking about? 600 pixels, or if it's larger than 600 pixels, because here there are certain things that are called show on mobile and show on desktop, and this is those are classes that I just keep adding, or sometimes I don't even have to dynamically add because they are just by default then selected. And this is exactly what I will be tagging these things here with. So we have here the categories. Box is visible, so class, and their class is show on desktop, and the burger has the class of show on mobile. Hopefully this should have been it. So as you can see now, since we're wider than 600 pixels right now, we have the category section here, and if I make this wider, it stays. If I make it smaller, okay, it does not vanish, but at least we get now the citizen menu pop up. Okay, half a win right there. Why am I zooming in? It's half a win. Show on desktop, show on mobile. Is there another class there? So this is the categories box. List categories. Is this carrying across even? Didn't mean to click it, but it's all good. There we go. ID class show on desktop. Okay, so did I mistype? Did I call it differently? Scroll. Show on desktop. Display none, otherwise display flex. Copy paste. Okay, at least that was not it. So maybe when I list the categories, maybe this is calling some PHP. What does happen here? Does this perhaps interfere? Let's find out. So this is a content function. Oh, here we are, list categories. And it says all it creates here is a category card of class, category card, category icon, category text. Okay, so this should not interfere actually. Then shown, we can more or less hard code it because this categories list there in the header. Or let's hang on. Am I overriding this somewhere? Item title bar, orientation portrait, model container. Now this is just for the modal. So item sidebar is not floating anymore underneath when less than 600 pixels. So what we want is our header categories list to have display none. Let's see if this works. No, it does not work. Apparently, whatever I do, it's not working. What is working now, if you watch here closely, that the Hamburger ID here when is being switched on and off exactly like it should. That's good. But here this show on desktop header categories list is not probably being overridden. Why not? I mean, display none is of course, because the inside here the element, this inline style overrides of course the rules, because the closer you are to the actual HTML element, the more specific you are. This has priority, this has precedence over the others. So this means, since I'm doing it here inside the element, doing the flex, unless of course I want to use the dreaded important keyword, which I try to avoid wherever I can, I need to do this differently. So, but again, since we already have here an ID that is the headers category list, I can take out pretty much everything that I have in the element here and just put it there. So what was it called? Header categories list, and it's only here. So okay, let's put it somewhere. Where do I have it? Header center container. This has again, where to put it in the CSS? Is this part of the categories or part of the header? And I would say it's more or less part of the header. Then again, down here, header category card. Okay, category overrides when in the header. I think we should put it here. Spaghetti and important. Yeah, at least in spaghetti works. So header categories list. There we go. And then I'm taking out all the inline style, and then it should work. Reload. Yes, for the most part it works. Now suddenly our what's the name? Our citizen, there we go, our city dweller box is now, of course, since it's not part there of this triplet in the header, so that it's either or, we need to also align it differently. So, but I think this shouldn't be too hard. So the nav, there we can say, I think margin left should be auto, and that was that. So as soon as we are less than 600 pixels in width, we get the nice menu there. Of course, clicking it doesn't do anything right now, but style-wise it works. For some reason, I always want to make it look nice like this. There we go. Much easier to read, at least for me. So, what did I do? I need to do this in the div of the Hamburger, and this is what we added. Margin left set to auto. Let's put this down here, then I can format it more nicely. Good, okay, so this seems to be working. If you're on a phone right now, probably you can also confirm or unconfirm. What's the other thing? Deny that it's working. Let me try stuff. No, pixel prophecy.stuff. There we go. Okay, nice. I get the radiator menu right where it should go. Doesn't do anything. And when I'm here in widescreen mode in landscape, then I get the categories. Sweet. Okay. This does work. Lady Misleaf is back and says, every time you mention the NAF burger, you make me want burgers. We've had this before. This is why I try to say the Citizen Dweller menu. Because I think this is how advertising works. If you just something gets repeated over and over, at a certain point, your brain starts to incorporate into things. Yeah. What did you actually call it? Heizungsmenü, Heizung. We just call it the Heizung, the Heizkörper, for some reason. Yeah. I mean, since my mom's partner, he worked as a plumber before. This was his daily bread and butter. So radiator. This looks like a radiator. No idea why someone would call this a burger. To him, it's a radiator. To my mom, it's the side of a washing machine. And so whenever I'm trying to explain to them what they should do when they click a website, when they call me and they say, yeah, there is something and I need to send an email to them, and I already sent them an email, and I said, no, didn't send an email. You typed in their email address in the browser bar. And yeah, it's on that level. And of course, you have to find words that they understand. So this is now why I call them the Heizung. Yeah, and Lady Misleaf also can see the radiator. And beef is ridiculously expensive now. Yeah, pretty much anything that is either healthy for you or not complete garbage in terms of, especially when we're talking about meat and poultry and all these kinds of things. If it's not expensive, then there was lots of unnecessary suffering and horrible conditions for the animals involved. So yeah, everything's expensive nowadays. And if it's not, I'm suspicious. So, okay, good. And if your phone is, or your device is super slender, then no one can help you there, because then this page, I mean, then you probably, I mean, you still have a chance to get where you want, but since, I mean, okay, there are scroll bars down here. So this makes it, I wouldn't say accessible, but still not completely unusable. Cool. Okay, so this works. For the most part, we do not have the actual burger menu when you click it. And so let's see how far I can get with half an hour that I still have the allotted time for this. And let's see again, how does Pixel Prophecy do it with this menu? And again, we just see what I did and how I did it. So I called this the nav menu. And it has here a couple of nav groups. This makes sense. So the nav groups are just separated here by these little stripes, these little bars between them. So, and yeah, this is a nav group. This is a nav link group, and the subgroups, again, they just have different indents. So essentially, all we want is something that is called a div, a nav menu, and it has no class right now, because as soon as we assign it, when we click it, we assign it a class. In this case, the class is inactive. When I click it, it gets removed from this. So an inactive has here this transform that says at 100% translate, and this is important. So this is the actual sliding in and sliding out part that is happening here. So yeah, let's just copy this and construct ourselves a nav menu, and we do this here in the head so that I can just put it somewhere. Let's put it here. ID nav menu div. And essentially, I just say, yeah, list the categories here and see what happens. Okay, so this is the nav menu. Right now, it's also creating all these icons and hover effects and so on. So, I mean, this is not entirely what we want, but it could be much worse. So I just need something to test this with. So where is it? Has it landed? It's in the page container, pre-header, box header, and underneath is the nav menu. So the nav menu, let's style this a little bit. Console says, as if people who download on phones know where the files end up. That is true. It's on my phone. Where exactly? I don't know. It's somewhere. Oh, talking about of things that are on your phone and you don't know where it is. Recently in the cafe, I was overhearing some elderly ladies on the table next to me. I mean, they weren't that elderly. They were like, I would say, early 60s or something. And one of them said, yeah, when I was at home and I wanted to do something on a notebook and plugged it in and opened it up, and it had all the photos that I've had taken from my phone. They were right there. They showed up. And she couldn't understand how this was possible. And the others inquired, so yeah, but did you use the cable? Because otherwise, why do the photos show up there? This is not possible. And so in the end, I mean, we all know, okay, maybe there is Google PhotoSync or Apple PhotoSync on, and this is what happened. And the others, there were like three or there were four in total, and the other three gaslighted this poor woman into, she must have been dreaming. This is not possible. This cannot have been already there. She probably have forgotten that she already transferred it, or maybe some of her kids already transferred the photos, because that's not possible. And I think, yeah, this is really sad on so many levels. Anyway, Commander Stitch is here. And great to see you working hard or chilling easy, Oats. Yeah, both. I was working hard before on the post-mortem. We're at clocking in at, I think, 20 minutes. We're at right now, probably the end total runtime will be about 30, maybe 35 minutes. And so I'm relaxing by doing some Zen. This is my Zen guard, my CSS. So right now I'm trying to have here the burger menu up there. And it only shows up when the page width is under 600 pixels. So there we go. And these ugly buttons here, they are already part of this menu that should pop up when you click it. So right now we're trying to get this sorted out. So I'm constructing here this menu again. Right now I just want to have here something, and to make it slide in and slide out, of course we need to change here a little bit how it's being displayed. So on one hand, I want to have a background color that I can tell which or what is part of it and what isn't. Let's go with, let's color A. This looks nice. It's good. And then the position, I think, should be fixed, because then we can slide it in and out. So the width, let's go with 200 pixels. Display, let's make it a flex box, because I always like flex boxes. And flex direction should be column. There we go. And align content should be, align items should be in center. Okay, so for now this, let's say that this is the sidebar, the menu that comes up when you hit the burger. There we go. Thank you, Miss Leaf, for reminding me that the automated unicorns do not feed on burgers yet. That's an oversight. I mean, it's the holy trinity of fast food. It's burger, pizza, and what was the other one? Spaghetti. There you go. Okay, cool. So this almost works. Then I say right is 0. So this is how it aligns itself to the right, or should it align itself to the left? No, the menu is on the right. So whenever you click it, it should pop up at the right. And then we have the transition, and that is transform. Oh, what was it exactly? How did I do it? Transition, transform, ease out. Okay, good. That we can copy. I'm copying my own code. I think that's fine. So that is the nav menu, and so I need to specify it as well. So nav menu, maybe put it in swirly brackets. That's what the pros do. So, okay, it's always visible right now, but it should start off as inactive. I think this is what happens here. So it starts as class inactive. And when it's inactive, that means, no, it's not download item inactive. At least here for the nav menu. Okay, since this pertains to the nav menu, I can just put it in there into the nav menu. So when it's of ID nav menu and of class inactive, and inactive means it's just outside of the view. So translate 100% 0 and it's important. Okay, let's see if I just put it there, if that works. Of course I need to add this to the class. So class is inactive. So if I type it correctly, it should do something. It does not do something or anything. Inactive. Yes, I think I typed this correctly. So Navburger class, nav menu, class is inactive. And for some reason, it's not doing what it should be doing. Do I have something there that also affects here this? So, So because when I click this burger, all it does is it either adds or subtracts the class inactive to the nav menu. And this is what I think the Navburger toggle does. I mean, we can inspect it. Let's see. View page source. So div Navburger on click. Burger nav toggle. Why don't I see it? Is it in some foreign file? Cover shortcut icon style sheet. Are there any more CSS script files? Interesting. I don't know whether this is happening. Burger nav toggle. Footer. No. Where did I put it? I think I know where. Style page, no, header, analytics, footer. Index, let's see. No, it's not there. PHP analytics, footer, head. Maybe it's in the footer. Did I stick it somewhere in the footer? No, that's all. It's just the email obfuscator that's there. In the head? No. That's curious. I'm running a function and I don't know what it's doing. Or where it's being defined. I mean, I can call it. Is it in the style? No, this doesn't make sense. That I put it into a CSS definition? No. Okay, I'm searching now through my code base for burger nav toggle. That's puzzling. I wrote this somewhere. Yeah, couldn't find it. It's not in this code base. But how is this working? View page source. It must be there in the page source. Is there any JavaScript file link? No, there is not. Oh, of course. I'm looking for burger nav toggle, but I think maybe I should be looking for it without. There we go. True. And there we go. So stupid. Yeah, of course it's a function, and in the function I have here a parameter. I feel so stupid. At least there aren't any witnesses. I only got 7 viewers, so I'm fine. Thank you. Don't tell anyone. Okay, so where is my script here for this? Because I have a feeling that I probably also have here my script. As you can see, JavaScript append query, collapsible, modal, sortable, few checkports. Where is this happening? And I think here PHP include, so then we CS navigation.js. Let's make this as well. Create new file, JS navigation.js, and I think I need to upload this now manually, because that's the only thing that this extension to VS Codium does not do, is upload it. So Pixel Prophecy, there we go. Let's move this to where I can see it without having to squint. Where was I? Stuff, there we go. Stuff, content, no HTML, navigation. Oh, apparently it's already there. Console, okay, Cursey didn't see nothing, and console says, I think you got an accidental space after and inactive. It should be, oh, of course, this makes sense. Thank you, because this is JavaScript, not JavaScript, this is CSS, and it means something completely different. Well, not completely different, but yes. So now it means that it's of nav menu and has inactive as a class. Cool, thank you for catching this one. Oh, that would have been a nightmare to debug. So here we are. And the nav menu is not there. And if I click it, burger menu open is not defined, but I'm clicking it works. And apparently it is not visible, which is also good. But maybe I can hear the nav menu if I disable the interactive. There we go. So this is working. Thank you, console, really. And so all I need to do is just add here this burger nav toggle, because I think I'm just having a flag that checks if this is already open or not. Okay, so if burger menu open, set timeout is true, hack for the outside click handler apparently, or false. So burger menu open or burger menu false needs to be defined somewhere. And where do I define it? So return function, burger menu toggle. Interesting. I don't know where this one is is defined. Another one of these, burger menu open. JS navigation. So function. Menu element, get element, nav ID. So the timeout we set to burger menu open, and then we say it's inactive. So this burger menu open and burger menu close, where do we actually set it? Should this be part of the page and not a function? When I put it here and say var burger menu open is false, does this then work? This feels not good. And of course, now I can't close it anymore. I have to click something. If I open here the burger menu and I click anywhere else, I really have to open this one. How do I do it here on Pixel Prophecy? Well, the menu slides in underneath. This of course makes sense. So I can still, oh, and when I do an outside click, then that's very cool. As soon as I do an outside click, it vanishes. Okay, how am I doing this? I remember that was some sort of a hack somewhere. But I think I can reverse engineer this. So burger menu open. Okay, so this was part of the script. There we go. This is what I didn't properly copy. So when you steal code from yourself, make sure that you copy all of it or steal all of it. So I think there we go. Burger menu open is false. Then we say burger nav burger menu get element by ID. So okay, good. So those two exist. Good night all, says Console. Happy Zen gardening. Thank you for sticking with me for this long. And yeah, I will also call it a night in probably 10-15 minutes. So we're already on the rollout. So I say wonderful of you to drop by. Thank you for helping me. Have a wonderful week and maybe I see you next week. Until then, bye-bye. So let's test this. Let's test this. So I click here and I click anywhere else and it vanishes. Good. How am I doing this? Apparently, so I add another event listener that when everything has been loaded, then I add a click listener. And if I click something that is neither the menu nor the button, then I disable the menu again. So if the burger menu is open and whatever I click is neither the menu nor the button, then it closes the burger menu. I think this should make sense, and it does, because this is exactly what's happening here. So okay, one last test here. So the menu is open and I change now the width. So the menu stays open, which may or may not be what we want. So instead, what I can do is, again, I can say, okay, this is only there on mobile. Again, mobile means the screen width is less than 600 pixels. So I give it as well the same class. So class is show on mobile. And it's not visible. I open it up, and as soon as it jumps over, it should be gone, but it is not. Interesting. Happy Zen Sparkling also said the automated unicorn, which I kinda like. Happy Zen Sparkling, everyone. So on mobile, maybe we want this menu to be to fill the entire width of the page, so that when you want to select something, then it's really not just half of your screen or something. Let's see how this looks on mobile. So see this, I don't know, does this look nice, or should it fill the entire screen width? So let's try and say 100 device view width, without the space, of course. There we go. Yeah, I think this makes more sense. So, and as soon as this is wider than 600 pixels, it should go away, because then it won't look good anyway. Okay, good. So let's code this up, or at least add it there to the CSS. So the width is not 200 pixels, but what did I do? 100 there we go, 100 device view width. Yes. If I click something, let's get tools, then it fades out and jumps to whatever we clicked. Neat. Neat, this works. Nice. Oh, automated unicorn. I just heard you sneeze. Okay, let me try this on the phone as well. And you know what? It kind of feels natural. I mean, the one thing is that on the phone, you really have to click in this case, whatever the icon, the circular icon. You cannot click anywhere left or right to it. I mean, we could make this an override and not show the icons, or show it differently, the categories, but what I could do is that we have here the category card. Then we say, as an override, the category card, the width is 100%. Is this correct? Probably, yeah. So the category card, so when we're in the nav menu, and then we have the category card, then we say the width is 100%. So now when I click here on tools, I don't have to hit the circular button directly, but I can also click here for resources, which again, when you're on the phone just with your thumb, it feels more natural. Again, this won't stay. These circular buttons don't make sense there for this kind of selection. So probably what I would do is maybe do something more akin to this, where when you're here with the mouse, for example, it's very clear what you're hovering over and what you're selecting because everything is in rows. Maybe I keep the icon in front. I mean, the icons will change as well, so not 100% certain yet. But you know what? It's kind of cool. You know what? Maybe what if I want to have the menu underneath the button as well? So the position is fixed, right is 0, and let's say top is, I think I have a variable of the header height. There we go. So I can click this and it slides in underneath the header. Yeah, I like this better because then it's very natural that you can close it out again. So display, position, width, background color. Let's move this down here. The height, yeah. So the background color is right now yellow, which was just something so that I can test it and see that it's working. Let's go with something a little bit more subtle, like super dark. And then the color, of course, should be that it's easier to read. Of course, because I'm having so many overrides now, even when I say the color too important, it's not showing up. But again, this is a problem for future fill to figure out, to format the categories differently when they are here. That they look more like they look like this when they are here in the header. So yeah, right now I think I can call it a day with what I have so far. So should I keep the yellow for now, or let's make it a bit darker that you can still read the descriptions. Nav menu there, I'm color a dark. So yeah, I think I'm content with that. There we go. Neat. Cool. Again, since I said this is my Zen garden, it means I will keep tinkering with it whenever I need a break from reality or just feel like, you know what, it would be nice if I did something more to make it look nicer. And again, maybe change the position of the city dweller menu, or again have this not take up that much space, and where it's again it feels more a little bit more fun to tap. I think that's what I want. And then of course add more stuff to it, because this is the entire purpose, that I have then finally a nice well working and nicely looking platform to download, for you to download my stuff, to find stuff, to again, if you, for example, if I go here to the tags, here in the view of the category, everything looks nice and dandy, but if I click a tag, let's say LD41, then it says here 2 items tagged. The home button is still in this little capsule, as is the fewest cards here. So again, it looks differently than when I click on a category. So again, I need to unify this, and so yeah, still lots of things to do. I want it to look nice, and again, always when I find the time, I can tinker with it. There we go. Finally managed to switch over. Thank you everyone for enjoying this stream. I hope, for helping me out with my CSS and for, hopefully I could help you, or at least nudge you a little bit into looking at finding open source and free software alternatives to maybe one or two things that you've been using, and maybe feel like, it doesn't feel right anymore, or you can't trust big corporations. This has been the through line here with the stream, or at least it has evolved as such. So I hope you could take something from this stream, apart from me cursing at CSS. In this case, it wasn't even that bad. YNOC says, finally able to catch a stream. What are you working on? Oh dear, and it's ending. That's all right, maybe next time. I mean, I can show you what I'm working on, so I'm just so glad that you managed to drop by. So very quickly, pixelprophecy.stuff is my download platform, and my little Zen garden, as I call it, is to make it look a little bit nicer. So this is what I've started, I think 3 weeks ago, to overhaul how it looked. So when you arrive at it, now you have here the latest additions to it. In this case, this one is a font, so it looks a little bit different than the others. And what we did today was, right now we have here on top where it says here scans, tools, and resources. These categories, of course, when you're on a phone, there's no room for it. Before that you had to scroll them, which felt super awkward. So what today, the fruits of today is, as soon as the screen is less than 600 pixels, it opens up here this little radiator here, this side of a washing machine, and then when you click it, it opens up here the resources, the categories as well, which again I find kind of neat. And so that I didn't have to code it up from scratch, I stole it, and I stole it from pixelprophecy.com. It's the same thing that I did a year ago and forgot for the most part of how to do it. Like when you click something outside, then of course the click should not register, but instead it should close. In this case, of course, if you click a link, the link still registers. But if you click anywhere outside, let's say the image or so, then it closes. So that was in a nutshell what I did today. And of course, the other thing was talking about my switch from Firefox to WaterFox. And if you can try to find a way one step at a time out of the dependency on big tech corporations who always want your best, and that is your money. Right. And Lady Miscliff says, maybe I should store my data in a USB that I give my mom, who lives a fair ways away from me. You know what? That is actually not bad, because that is the other thing with archiving, because is always the saying, if you archive it once or if you back up it once, it's not really a backup. So make 2 copies of the same data. This is what I do. And also I bring my mom a big bag of LTO tapes every year for her to put in the shelf in case, I don't know, something horrible happens here. There's a water pipe or EMP going off. Everything is being deleted here. Something burns up. Fingers crossed, we really don't want this, but there is still a stash somewhere else with the data. So yeah, not a bad idea. As an alternative to cloud-based storage. You know what? In the end, it's what the only convenience you have with cloud-based storage is time of access. That is the other thing when you put something in an archive, and if it's on tape, it's probably safer, but it takes you longer to recover. And the same thing is if you have it on a USB drive, or probably 2 sticks that are just mirrored, put it somewhere. I mean, it takes you to get there, but your data is that much safer, and you know where it is, and it's contained. So not a bad idea from my perspective. Frank agrees, far from the worst backup scheme. Parent-based storage, that's PBS. Thank you, YNOC, for saying nice, looks good. And yeah, by the way, I've been developing this live, so all that you see here when I change something in the code, you can see it right away when you have the same page open on your browser. Kurt says cloud is just someone else's data store. Exactly, that's it. And also someone said cloud is now your data lives not with you, but now a landlord is renting out space for your data and you have to pay them. That is the cloud nowadays. So do you really want to give your data to some smarmy landlord? No, you will not. You don't want this, at least if you can avoid it. So yeah, again, store locally, backups, parent-based storage. Frank says, when working with USB drives for backups, remember that whenever all copies are connected to the same power circuit, you have no backups. Ooh, that is a good one. Indeed, if something fries and you have like 3 USB sticks in the same machine, then it goes bad. Also, talking about things going bad, what's the memory in those USB sticks? It's flash memory, and I've heard that of course it degrades as well over time. So maybe put it in a USB drive every couple of, I would say every 2 years or something, and just see if everything is there. And if it takes a weird time to load or something's off where okay, this shouldn't take that long, then get the other stick out from storage and make a new backup. But do not connect it at the same time at the same power circuit. The few times, says Lady Mistleaf, I would send her backups to put on the drive, she would not leave it plugged in all the time. Okay, she would not leave it plugged in all the time. Frank says, as in a power surge could take out everything in one go, or malware. Yeah, that is the thing. If you have if you say, I've stored it on three different hard drives, but it's on the same network storage or even in the same machine, exactly. If power surge happens, it's out. So this again is the more distance you can put between data, physical distance, the better. And the same goes for power circuits and that stuff. Never thought of it, but of course it totally makes sense. So Lady Mistleaf, you were just, I think, making somewhat tongue-in-cheek a joke, and we took it completely seriously, and we agree parent-based storage is not that bad an idea. Right. And with that, I'm perfectly on time. It's midnight here, 1 minute past midnight, and it's my time for today. And Kirsty says, etch your data on the moon. Moon-based, space-based storage. Of course, with all kinds of backup, there is how time of retrieval, safety of data, longevity of data, and of course a cost to put your data there. Talking about cost to put data, I'm doing my backups on an LTO, that's linear tape operation. So it's essentially it's just a long tape. You need a special tape machine for this, a tape drive, and of course after 6, 7, 8, I don't know for how long, it broke, and I had to have it repaired. And I will get it back on Monday, that I can do my backup for 2025. And I have it's eye-watering how expensive this is, and still not as expensive as getting a new one. So that is the other thing. So tape, relatively compared to gigabyte per euro or something, is relatively cheap with tape. It's also very long-lived. So their tape is they say 20 to 30 years should be no problem if it's stored correctly. If you drop a tape, if you don't mush the actual tape around, it should be fine. But of course the downside is it's super expensive to write to. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Lady Mistleaf is serious about the parent-based storage and could extend to Lilo-based storage. The more backups you have, always the better. As it goes, usually 2 copies. You can't go wrong with 3. 4 are also okay if they aren't stored in the same folder or the same bin or the same container, of course, provided. But indeed, that's good. Frank says, a pair of external hard drives on your shelf is a backup. It doesn't guard against house files, sure, but it guards against some things. But if you connect both of them to the computer at the same time to update them, exactly, yeah. And Frank says, definitely look into it, worth it for the Lilo-based storage. I can also agree. Yeah, again, I'm a big fan of backups. You can see me light up when I'm talking about data redundancy. I'm such a nerd. But at least the unicorns never tire of me. Or do they? No, they don't. And if they do, they just sleep with their eyes open. It's a bit creepy, actually. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Like I say, I'm always super enjoying our streams where I can chat with you and you fix my bugs. So it's a win-win for me. I hope it was a little bit entertaining to you, despite this rather dry subject of let's push in some CSS numbers and see how things go. Frank says, thanks for the stream. A good night, unicorns. And so say I to you, my unicorns. Have a wonderful week and see you hopefully on Saturday. That is 6 days from now. Until then, take care and Goodbye.